Fantasy sports coaches, welcome back to GameDay Squad's YouTube channel. We're here for another season of Aussie Rules for 2024. I'm your boy Tom, appointed as the host for this season because I've now slapped Callum Silly in back-to-back seasons. It's too easy for me. Cal, mate, you're here. Think you're going to come runner-up again for this season, but are you ready to now get into this and start talking about some fantasy footy?
Mate, I'm always ready to start talking about fantasy footy. You know me. Great to be back. Feels a bit weird. It's been a month since we've done a podcast, so I'm actually a little bit nervous. But no, I'm not excited to be slapped silly. You have beaten me, it is true. Back-to-back seasons. I'd admit there's been a few things that maybe have impacted that, which people don't agree with. But hey, I've got to give you the belt. You've got it at the moment. Great thing about fantasy is that this is a new year and I'm ready to come for that belt and, compete in GDS this year. A lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, mate. Well, speaking of exciting stuff, we've had a massive off-season here at GameDay Squad. In 30 seconds or less, for everyone that's new around here, I want you to quickly run through some of the key changes that we have made for the upcoming season.
Ooh, 30 seconds. So first, I do know you've got a video that we have produced. Tom, if you're doing your job, it should be up here or down here. Go check that out if you're brand new to GameDay Squad, or you haven't been back in a while. Squads have got bigger, so we've now got an extra spot for each position. We have changed the salary cap. Salary cap for the classic competition's gone up to 12.5 million with the new spots. So that's changed around a little bit. We've got some prize cards and special cards now floating around. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff. Harley Reid and all the other great new rookies are in the game. Go check it out. I probably can't go through it all here. I can't wait. I want to throw to you though, put you on the spot. Out of all the changes, what are you most looking forward to for this season?
Oh, good one. Okay, easily for me is playing with more of my favourite player cards every week. The squad size going from 18 to 22 scoring players. You bloody beauty. What else do you want? That's what I want, bro. So that's my favourite feature for sure.
Tim English now has a partner for you every week. You don't have to go through Tim English gang versus Rowan Marshall. But hey, I'm curious to see if Rowan Marshall is the guy you stick with for the season.
Ease up now. English gang will still be representing this season. Don't you worry about that, mate.
I thought, because we've got a lot of great stuff going around GDS content, whether it's on the blogs the guys are writing, and they got all your rankings, and we've got lots of partners doing lots of that. So I thought we'd take a little bit of a different approach for our first episode back, right? First episode back for the year. So I don't have a title for this, but I just came up with a bunch of categories. I told you to come up with a bunch, and it's most likely to, or things along that mold. I'm going to give you some questions. I don't know yours, you don't know mine. It's going to be a little bit on the spot, but should give us a bit of an insight into how we're thinking about some fantasy players. So I'll kick you off with a good one because I know you love having a cry when your teams get beaten in fantasy across all sports. So I wanted to know what player is going to cause you the most tears, or do you think is going to cause the most tears in 2024?
Oh, Toby Nankervis. I had a vendetta with him last year after he put that shot on Jake Lloyd, and I don't think I stopped crying about him for the next 6 weeks. So I'm going with Nankervis. He's definitely going to make me cry the most this upcoming season. I can see it, the bloody grub. Oh, I can't stand him.
You did a rankings video with him. Was he even in the top 3? Is he even going to be near your fantasy squad? Or you just scared of him as a player?
Yeah, more as a player, but yeah, he was 6th in my rankings video for the Rucks for the upcoming season. So you never know, he might feature here and there in my team, but maybe out of spite, I might just bench him like I do with Rowan Marshall for last season. But I'll hit you with one. Let's get you started off. I want to know most likely to be your set and forget player in your squad for the upcoming year.
Now, my personal one, or I think if all my cards were neutral, because, as you know, I have a lovely prize, Connor Rosie, that I won a couple of years ago. So he is not leaving my squad in my midfield. Now, whether he's actually a set and forget midfielder, probably not. Is there a bit of the eye patch on, a bit of a fan? Probably a little bit. So you want someone different?
I do. I want to know, without the prize card, what would you be picking as your set and forget player for the season?
I know you want me to say someone here, but I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. I'm going to say Nick Dacos. Being a defender still this season, I think he is going to go straight in my D1 spot, and he's not going to move unless he's not playing. So, yeah, he is probably the best set and forget player, I think, this season.
Okay, like it.
Alrighty. Player most likely to single-handedly lose you a week of fantasy footy.
Mason Redman. That guy last year, I could not pick when he was going to play well and when he wasn't going to play well. I can't stand it. I feel like every other week he played well when I didn't start him, and when I did, just stinkers. Absolutely horrible. So he's a player. That's going to make or break me this year. I might just avoid him at all costs because of it, in all honesty.
Yeah, with now 7 spots in defense, we're going to see a few more different teams. I don't even know if I have Redmond in my top 15 players, let alone like dynasty rankings, let alone someone this season. But yeah, no, if you want to play him in your squad, I feel comfortable about that. I'd be happy to see him lose you a couple of weeks.
I think the point of that was someone that I might not play in my squad, but I get it. Maybe you do want to see me, or what if he becomes a top 6 and you're not touching him? Then I'll have the edge. But, mate, I want to ask you
I didn't see Nick Newman becoming a top 6 player last year, so...
That's a good point, actually. That's a very good point. But, Cal, I've got one for you. I want your biggest yes-no player for the season, and I'm going to give you some context before this. So this is a player that you watch and either makes you regret your decision straight away, but then turns it on for you, or they go to a hot start, you think, I am on top of the leaderboard, on top of the world, but then go missing in action for the rest of the game. Who's the first player that comes to thought?
Shout out Marcus Smart, biggest yes-no player. I'm sure that's what's inspired this question. Listen, last year, he didn't play my team, but there were times where Luke Jackson, I'd be like, yes, and times where he just could go missing and be no. So I'm going to say Luke Jackson, because I think he's potentially going to be in and around that team a fair bit, my squad this year. And I think there's going to be times where he looks like the most dominant player on the field, and times where you realise that he's still quite young and has a bit to develop.
Okay, I like it. Luke Jackson, biggest yes-no player for 2024. Let's lock that in.
All right, one for you. Player most likely to be subbed in and out of your squad on a week-to-week basis. So what I mean by this is someone who is just in, out, just as you go through the different emotions with this player. You could be smart here. You could say he's a matchup player, or it could be someone that you just think is on the edge and you actually don't know whether he's going to be in your squad.
First name that came to mind, right? Darcy Parish. I don't know why, but I feel like he's just like on the edge of some of the top midfielders. He's going to be a player that's going to be floating around, and I just have a feeling when it gets to game time, I know we joked about it last year with Kerm, old Pep Guardiola, just last minute substitutions. I reckon he's just going to be a guy that I fling in and out of my squad every single week. So, yeah. I'm going to lock in Darcy Parish. For whatever reason, I just gravitated to him straight away.
Speaking of Kerm, you did have your midfielder ranking video. Do you know where you had Parish? I can't remember off the top of my head, because I reckon he's probably he's definitely within the top 12.
I can tell you now, I've got it in front of me. I had Darcy Parish is my rank 11 midfielder for the season. So
there you go. Spot on. So matchup, I can see that. He could get hot, merits out. Who knows? That's a good one.
Thanks, mate. I don't know why. It just instantly came to my head. I don't know how. I didn't even pre-think of this, but poor Darcy, he's a good player. But yeah, I reckon he's just going to be stitched up by myself for this year. Cal, I'm going to flick it over to you. I want to know the player card you're going to be most likely to buy or trade for in the upcoming year.
Ooh, good question. So over the course of the year, for someone that I don't have at the moment,
Look, I'll give you some context. The question is, who do you need to trade for to beat me in this upcoming season? That's what I really want to know.
Oh, that's a loaded question. The answer is heading into round O that my squad is more than capable. The peanut butters will be back. I think 3 years ago, say they are back-to-back champs, a bit of a stitch up when I was playing in the champion in the first year of GDS and you were in the classic, but because you had a higher rank, you claimed the win. There's big asterisks on that. I'll give you last year. I'm not giving you 2 years ago. So you have beaten me. It is true. Back-to-back seasons. Who do I think I need to trade for? Listen, I've done some work in this preseason. I've kind of gone out and got a version of everyone that I want. Like most people, I don't have a Bron Sam Flanders. I think he's going to be a player that I need to have. I've got a silver currently sitting in my squad, but I don't know if I want to be playing silver forward. Yeah, so if I can get myself a bronze Flanders, it's probably the only thing. And I'm also chasing a gold Grundy because maybe, just maybe, he becomes number one ruck. So, all right, I'll go personal here. I want to know if this. I want this to be someone that you've got. The player you're most likely to sell in rage after a poor performance, and then regret it.
Oh. No, who is it going to be? Again, I'm just going to go the first name that came to mind. I'm going to go Tim Taranto, mid for Richmond. I just have a feeling that after last year, he's now in the midfield. Last year he was a forward, so it's a little bit easier to play someone like Taranto. I just have a feeling he's going to come out. He's going to do really well. He's going to stink it up for a little. I'm going to panic sell him just out of rage, as you said, and then he's just going to turn it on. As soon as I do that, I'm going to absolutely destroy myself, and then I'm going to be sitting there trying to pick up the pieces after and try to rebuild the two scanners. So, again, don't know why.
I was trying to get you the layup to try and get a Rowan Marshall. I thought you'd go Rowan Marshall for that one, but no, you surprised me.
Oh, I didn't want to do Rowan Marshall because he's just not going to play in my squad. I don't know. I wanted to give you an honest answer of someone I might play. I don't know if I can play Rowan Marshall this year. English Gang has a very, very deep, it just might not be possible, Cal. So that's what I'm going to go with. That's my answer.
No, fair.
But all right.
Fair enough.
I want to flick it over, Cal. I'm going to give you a new award. I'll give you some context after. This is the Put Me In Coach Award, all right? And I want you to designate this to someone. What this is a player who, you're going to bench right before lockout. But it could be, as you said before, it's due to a gut feeling, or maybe it's just a desperate attempt to fix your team because, we got the rolling lockout. You've started off horribly and you're like, you know what? I'm going to put in this high upside player. He's going to save my week. And then, you're going to bench a guy for him. This player's going to erupt on your bench and he's going to leave you thinking about retirement. I want the first player that comes to your head when you think of that statement.
I thought of Zachary Butters, the namesake of the peanut butter. Now he's a mid. No, he's a forward. Jeez, I should know this off the top of my head.
He's a mid.
Butters
you should know this.
Of course he's a mid. I should know. He's a mid, otherwise he'd be in my squad. He's just not going to be in the best squad every week, but he's going to have glimpses, and because obviously I'm going to be watching all the Port games, there's going to be times where I'm looking at Rosie and going, is Butters the better player here for my fantasy squad? And Butters is just there in the reserves waving at me, being like, mate, put me in. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to him.
Fair enough. I don't think anyone was expecting that, Cal. That's just goes to show that the Swans are better than Port. You would put down your Port power, Zach Butters. If I remember correctly from last year, there was a statement that you and Kerr made on a show, and I'm going to say it to the mic, that you said Zach Butters was a better player than Errol Goulden. Would you like to go back on that statement right now? I'm going to give you a quick chance to rectify that. Because I think it needs to be addressed. It's something that's been burning me on the inside for a long time.
I've got to review Can I review this one, because I'm not sure that I ever said that. I reckon you're trying to get me to admit to something here that I've never actually said, just to try and catch me out. So you know what you can do? You can go back. You can find that. You can find that tape. If you find that bit of tape, play it back to me. Then I'll give you an answer. Until then, I'm just not acknowledging the question.
That sounds like guilty, but I'll find it for you. Alrighty, I'll leave it for now.
Awesome. Right, I got a biggie for you. Who is going to be the number one scorer in GDS this season?
I have to do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone. It has to be Errol Goulden. It just can't be anyone else. Errol Goulden this year is going to be the number one scorer. I think it's going to be tight between him and Nick Dacos, but I do feel like Goulden's going to have the edge this year. He's going to be playing in the midfield. He's going to be eating fantasy points for a living, because that's what he bloody does. I can't wait for the Swan season. Errol, number one, baby. He's my man. I'm taking him. Taking him.
That is the most biased pick I've ever seen. Can you give me a non-Swans player? You got Dacos.
I said it would be tight between him and Dacos, but yeah.
Again, Errol was the second highest scoring player last season. Only just missed out to Bont. So I still don't quite believe that happened, even though it did happen. So I guess I can't be sitting here too critical of it. But yeah, because I thought we're going to do a bit of our seasonal predictions, and one of them I had down, I just realised we've doubled up on, was who was going to be the highest scoring player. So I'll give you mine now, just so you've got it. I think it's going to be Bont. I think he's going to keep the crown again. I think Bulldogs are in for a bit of a rough year, but I think he's going to have to be in that middle of the pack every week for them to have a chance. So I reckon he goes back to back.
Oh, I guess me and Bont will have something in common. Back-to-back champs. That's a good. I guess you might have to start calling me Bontempelli. But anyway, Cal, I'll move it on. I want to give you one, and I thought about this one. And again, I'm going to give you a little story to it. Going to give you a little backstory. The new...
Before you do, can I just say, I am never calling you Bontempelli. It's just
we'll work on it. I'll get you there. I'll get you there at some point, I reckon. But I want to do this. It's the new I should have started him award. Now, let me set the scene for you, Cal. You're with your mates, or maybe it's just a group chat, and the footy kicks off. You start watching a game, and there's a player that you don't really talk about to other people, coaches, whatever, but you've had an eye on him for some time. They start teeing off, and then the professional scout within you comes out and starts professing about how you knew they were going to be in for a big one today, but the catch is that you didn't start them. Who's the player that comes to mind?
I think you know who I'm going to say here. Do you know who? My big love interest, to steal a line from our friends at Talking League, James Rowbottom. Man is an absolute beast. He's never going to start for my squad. But the moment he tees off, everyone's going to hear about the fact that I knew this guy was going to be a star. So, yes, James Rowbottom, easy. He wins that award for me.
I do know about your love for Rowbottom, and I could definitely see it happening. There's going to be that one round, and then you're going to be coming out being like, I told you so, told everyone so, and then that'll probably be it for the season. I can totally see this happening.
Yeah, it is weird. I do love Rowbottom. I will be at the Swans season opener against Melbourne. I promise you, the only person I'm going for is Rowbottom. Whoever else I pick in my squad that day, which is going to be a lot, because as you know, we have round 0, which means that there's only going to be 8 teams to pick from. So unfortunately, we're going to have to play a fair few of your Swans. Fortunately, you've actually got a fair few fantasy relevant players, so it's going to be a bit of fun. So yeah, I'm keen to see how people deal with that little one there. My turn. Similar sort of question to you've got. Kind of matches it quite nicely, but look, the other side. Who's the player most likely to find your way into your squad, but then when one of your mates asks you about it, you've got no logical reason as to why they ended up in there, but they have?
I know exactly who I'm going to say, because I have my rankings video coming out and it's Daniel Rioli. I reckon no one has Daniel Rioli on their radar this year to crack in to their best 7, but I am trying to reason with myself for all the reasons why he's going to make my best 7. I don't know why. I really love the way when I watch him play. I just think he's so much better than the fantasy score that he gets. His average isn't that great. If I not mistaken, let me get it up here. 93.5, which last year wouldn't even have him in the top 15 of defenders. So Dan Rioli is my answer to that question. He's just going to be that player where we go to the show and you're like, Tom, why the hell did you play Daniel Rioli this week? And I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I love it. That's an awesome one. That was a good one. Shout out Dan Rioli for. I was going to say, if anyone's got cards that they want to sell and they're Dan Rioli's, you have found the only person that's willing to buy them off you.
Hit me up. Yes, sir. I'm all
there.
there.
Get them on the market. It was like me. I was on the Discord. Shout out to the Discord. Make sure that I'm sure you'll throw that link down below as well. Great place to chat everything fantasy. Had a few people DM me, be like, "Oh, someone's buying up Josh Sin cards. Do you know who that is?" Knowing everyone that I'm obviously a Port player and he's a very niche Port Adelaide player coming through. Yes, it was me. I was buying up Josh Sin cards. So, yeah, so that's my guy. I'm secretly vacuuming them up at the moment. And there's you. We've found the Rioli vacuumer. So,
Yep. Yeah, totally right, mate. But, okay. Next one for you, Cal. The What About Me Award. Now, what this is a player who's going to be snubbed for your team all season long, even though they have great upside and they're going to score from a week in and week out, and they probably deserve a starting role in your squad at some point. Who's that going to be?
Thought about teeing you off and saying Tim English for a reaction. That's not happening. I'm going to give you someone who
we both know that's
I
not
think
happening.
is going to be so close. I reckon it's going to be one of two players, and they're from the same club. It's either going to be Geordie Dawson or Rory Laird. I can see one of them just being on the outskirts in that sort of 8 to 10 bracket the whole year, but just never being good enough. And me, if I've ever got a 50-50 decision to make between a player and a Crows player, I'm picking the other player. So, yeah, as much as I love probably Geordie Dawson, probably a little bit more than Laird. So, yeah, let the record state Geordie Dawson, but let Laird's copping a stray there too.
All righty, Cal, I'm now out of questions, mate. Have you got one more before we wrap up this little...
I've got one more. So, last one for this segment. Who is the player most likely to break the 200 mark in 2024? Now, we're going to probably get 3 or 4 players, so you could sort of pump this up to 210. 200 just sounded better when I was writing it down, but let's go. You're going to say players are going to break over 200. Who's the most likely to do it this season?
It's funny because I'm thinking of last year, right? Jesse Hogan, Texan. Who would have thought? Out of all the fantasy players, both of those guys would crack 200 at some point. I am not going to go with one of those answers.
Squad. 8 points for a goal if you're brand new to GameDay Squad. 8 points. Fantastic way. We look after key forwards here. Maybe some of us used to be key forwards. That's maybe why we've got a soft spot for them. But yeah, shout out the big full forwards.
There's definitely one of us was a key forward back in the day. I don't know. It wasn't me. I'm just going to put that one out there. Might be the guy.
Apparently you're All-Australian midfield captain running around in the middle. As you played before. I was
All-Australian. I was in the All-Star squad for the under-14s. My answer to this is going to be big Andy Brayshaw. I think that after being the best fantasy player 2 seasons ago, letting go of his crown, he's going to want to come back with a vengeance. I think Freo in for a better year this year. Big Andy Brayshaw is going to just have some stupid game, some silly game. 2 goals, 10 tackles, 20-something kicks. He's the type of player that can do it. That's going to push him over that 200 mark.
You're picking the stats too.
Yeah, mate.
You've got them all.
I've got it all.
Not only is he going for 200...
I've got it all down pat. Don't worry about that. I know the exact stat line. I know everything. Andy Brayshaw, that's the man that's going to do it, Cal. I'm confident.
I love that as an answer. I probably would have gone the same. I was kind of thinking about him when I wrote it, just because out of with the forwards, you get your rogue Jesse Hogans that just have a day out and creep in there. But the guy probably who is going to be the most consistent is probably their Andy Brayshaw. Yeah, So no, I like that. I like that.
Alrighty, Cal. This is going to be hard to do. I get it, but just hear me out. Let's step away from fantasy for a moment. I know you've got some questions lined up about the season that's coming up, mate. Why don't you take it away? Let's go through them quickly.
Yeah, I wanted to throw this in because this is, of course, our season preview. We are obviously fantasy focused here at GameDay Squad, but I've been on a bit of a hot streak these last couple of years with these fantasy previews, with the non-fantasy previews. My fantasy hasn't been so good, but the other stuff's been going. Hey, go back and check the tapes. The great thing about YouTube is they stay up. So I'm going to run you through a bunch of questions about who's going to win some awards, some statements I want to get out of you. Nothing like upsetting fan bases before the season's even started. But I'll give you an easy one. We're just talking about goal kickers. Who is going to win the Coleman this season?
Charlie Curnow. I think it's easy. Easy money. Curnow's forward line to dominate, and he's going to do it.
I also have Charlie Curnow written down, which I can send you.
Yep.
You don't believe me and you think I'm copying off you there. So I'm gonna next one I'm gonna say my pick. Brownlow medal. I've already said Bont. I really love Andy Brayshaw. I think he's going to be right back there, and people are going to forget. He had a quiet year last year, and he finished 6th overall or something. Still found himself a way into the All-Star squad. But I'm locking in Bont for the Brownlow. Who are you going?
Okay, I think Bont's a good pick, but let's be real. Dacos missed 10,000 games last year and still nearly won the Brownlow. If he can stay healthy this season, I just think it's Nick Dacos' Brownlow to lose, in all honesty. So it's a layup. I get it. Not a very spicy take. But how can you not go with him? He's just that good. Have to.
Vanilla, like we'd expect, mate. We'd expect it from you. I'm going to go for 2 grand teams to make the grand final, and who's going to win it?
All right, Swans and... Oh, do you want my actual pick? Which one do you want here?
Yeah. I want your actual pick. The one that we'll put up in a post and name and shame you later when you get it awfully wrong.
Alrighty. I am going to go with... I don't want to do it, but Collingwood. I'm sick of seeing them win. But I just see them getting themselves back into September footy, back into a grand final at the MCG, and we know how tough they are to beat there. And I actually believe the Swans are going to do good, but I'm not going to go with the Swans because everyone's going to be like, stop talking about the Swans, you loser. We get it. So I'm going to go with Carlton. I think the Flaggers are going to become potential Flaggers, get all the way. They've got the team to do it. They've got the squad to do it. I'm super excited for them. If it can't be the Swans, it has to be the Baggers for me.
Oh, I'd love to see the Blues in it. No, that's good. That's good. You don't want to throw your Swans in there? I will. We're kind of not looking forward to this. Everyone that does know, my partner is also a Swans fan, so admitting this is tough on both fronts. I was tossing up how it actually goes because I'm like, I think the Swans could win it. I think they lose another grand final, but they lose to the Lions.
Oh, don't.
The Lions finally break through.
Oh, we're not losing to the Lions.
I'd love nothing more than a grand final day with you miserable and my partner miserable.
We all know they can't play at the G. We're not losing to the Lions at the G. They can't play there. It's just like it's gospel. Hey. They go to the G, they crumble. It is what it is.
It is.
We didn't make the rules. We just follow them. We just follow them.
I personally don't actually want the Swans or Port to be in. As you know, I'm getting married a week before the grand final, week after the grand final. So could either be a very good week or a very bad week leading up to it. Probably what you probably don't want to see Ken. I don't want to see Ken Hinkley stuff up a grand final in only ways Ken can do it. The week leading up to a week like that. So, yeah, I can't wait. Should be a bit of fun. I've got a couple more for you here.
Yep.
Going to go with team that you'd be like a shocking team that you're most likely to make the finals that you're not expecting, and a team everyone's expecting the finals to miss out.
As in, like, just make the 8, sorry? Or, like, if they could go all the way?
Yeah, so a team that... Now, just make the final. A team that at the moment people say there's no way they're making the finals and they make it. If you want to go someone that's on the cusp like an Adelaide, if you don't think there's going to be someone crazy, fair enough. I just want to know if there's anyone you think that's going to make a big leap we're not expecting, or someone we're expecting to drop off completely. Kind of like the Richmond last year. People had them in for the finals and they didn't get close.
Oh, Cal. That's a good one, man. Give me a sec to think about that. What about yourself? Give me your predictions while I quickly work out what I'm going to do there.
The easy one's Freo, I think, but people are still sleeping on them. I think their midfield is still very, very good. So they're the team that I think people aren't actually thinking. I did say this last year. I don't know if you remember. This time last year, I sat here and said, I have no idea how Freo aren't favourites to make the 8. That made me look silly, but I'm doubling down on it. Team to slip out. I don't know where the Dogs are at, if they're thereabouts, but I think the Dogs are about to go into turmoil. Weird. I wouldn't mind if Port get thrown in that list if it means we maybe get someone new in charge of coaching. But
New coach,
on my official list is the Dogs. I didn't say it. You said it. So
I did say it. Ken 11. Not Ken 10. Ken 11, baby. Never forget.
Ken 11.
Hashtag Ken in. That was so fantastic last season. I think you've given me enough time to work out my answers as well. I actually agree with you in terms of Fremantle. They were probably the most disappointing team, in my opinion, last year. If you just looked at their list and you looked at how their season went and you're like, how are they losing all these games? Don't think a lot of people could explain it. I think they're going to bounce back, though. Like you said, they've got a much better squad this year. I think they're ready to go. For the team that's going to drop off, it's going to be... This might be a personal one because, okay, I'm a Swans fan. We all know that. It's the Geelong Cats. I'm sick of seeing them be successful. I'm sick of seeing them play in grand finals. I'm sick of seeing them being in the 8. And I think it's finally time that those old heads get old, It's just it. It's it. This is the year it finally falls apart for them. They're going to be carried by Jezza in a sense, but they're just not going to be enough to do any real damage in the league. So that's my pick.
I like that. Geelong was my second pick for that one. It's good. It's good. Should be a fun year. I can't wait. We've enjoyed doing a few other things here at GameDay Squad in the off-season, the basketball and, of course, the cricket. But there is nothing like footy, is there? So I can't wait.
Truly. We know we both can't wait for the season coming up. That was a good little chat. Had a good yarn. Had a good laugh here and there as well, mate. So thanks for that, for preparing those questions to me. You really put me on the spot for a couple and made me think. But as you hinted at before, GameDay Squad is doing round 0. Who wants to wait for that extra week to start playing fantasy footy? I know for sure I don't. Cal doesn't want to wait either. So we thought we're going to host a round 0 event. So make sure you are signed up to GameDay Squad. All the links are down below in the description. Open up your free starter packs and start building your dream squad today. Hopefully you pull a Timmy English because he'll just carry you all the way. Don't worry about that. But we are super excited for round 0. So make sure you're getting your squad ready. Because as you saw, there's a lot of buys. There's very limited teams. There's actually 8 to play with in that round. So it's going to be really interesting to see some of the squads that are put together, who people think have good matchups. But Cal, as you said before, this was a bit of fun. We've got some analysis, reviews on the channel as well. So if you want to have a look at some rankings, check them out. The links down below will be in the description. If you're not ready for the season upcoming, we've got a draft down below. I've got other stuff down below for you as well. Let us help you out. Get ready for the season. That's rapidly approaching. Cal, welcome back, baby. 2024 season launch. Yeah. I'm super excited to rip into this year with you, mate. Let's get it.
I can't wait. I'm glad you're pumped. You have left me out of all the analysis this off-season, for obvious reasons. After last year, you made the exact decision that apparently wasn't good enough to be on it. But no, I'd highly recommend the stuff. They've been awesome. Couple of things I just want to say. So we're going to be back weekly on this show, which I can't wait. So starting up this week until the finals are over, mate. So we've got a big long season to get into, but we love footy. I can't wait for it. And we should have said this off the top. GameDay Squad, if you're brand new to this, free to play, And there's over 100K in cash and prizes in the Aussie Rules to be won alone this season. Go out and find another fantasy sport platform in Australia here offering that. Bet you can't. So I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome year.
Bloody oath, mate. It is going to be an awesome year. And we'll catch all your legends next week in the next episode. See you, everyone.